Are some so-called African Americans really from Israel, and the real Jews also known as the 12 tribes of Judah? And were there dark-skinned tribes in America before the 1500s? Known today as Indians or Native Americans, a lot of people don't think there was, and say people who think black people were the real Jews, or that if you think there were black tribes in America before the 1800s, you are crazy. Here's a couple proofs to back their statements.
If the true children of Israel
are black people,
why is it such a problem to speak the truth?
It became a problem for us because of the propaganda machine. But it's more of a problem for them. They've taken our birthright.
They don't want us to be them.
They don't want us to be us. They don't want you wrapping your head.
Right.
You understand?
Even though we are the true Hebrews.
Exactly. So we can't even tell the truth now. Not on record, not on television shows.
If that's truly our birthright, there's no hate involved.
It's not.
How did this message get so misconstrued?
When we came back to claim it. If you steal my bicycle when we were 6 years old, and you riding around the hood with my bike,
right.
And now I'm 12, and I understand.
I want my bike back.
I want my bike back, man.
The next person speaking is a Jewish rabbi, and he is even telling you black people were the real Jews. They took our history and demonized it. The Star of David was our symbol. Now today, we think it has something to do with being satanic. They steal real-life things or spirituality. It look like it's something they cultivated, but they plagiarized and make it look evil, so we never want to learn about it.
People brought to the Americas on the transatlantic slave trade. Now, if someone goes to Times Square in New York today, you'll see, African Americans dressed in Israelite outfits and yelling at people saying, "You're not the real Jews, we're the real Jews." And so most people saying, "Well, you guys are kooky, you just made this whole thing up, you made up a religion and an identity." Actually, no, they are the blood descendants, most likely, of the people who, from Israel, were brought from Africa to America. So when goes to Times Square in New York today, you'll see, African Americans dressed in Israelite outfits and yelling at people saying, "You're not the real Jews, we're the real Jews."
In the 1400s, black Hebrew Israelites fled and the transatlantic slave trade happened, causing black Jews to relocate from Spain to North America, South America, and Africa.
Fled into the interiors of Africa as refugees after the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 AD. More than 1,500 years later, they were rounded up on the African continent and shipped all over the Western Hemisphere to be sold as slaves. This is the history that has been omitted from the pages of the European history.
Were there dark-skinned people in America before slavery? A lot of people thinks that's false. Here's some proof to show you they were, and white Europeans called people in America Indian, but they went by tribe names Seminole, Choctaw, Blackfoot, and more.
Even before there are any appreciable number of African slaves being sent to the Americas, there are Native American slaves being sent to Europe, principally probably ending up in Lisbon and Seville or Sevilla in southern Spain. So even before there are any appreciable number of African slaves being sent to the Americas, there are Native American slaves being sent to Europe, principally probably ending up in Lisbon and Seville or Sevilla in southern Spain.
Now, when people think of American slavery, they don't think of the enslavement of Native Americans. Why is this?
Well, partly because the enslavement of Native Americans occurred first. The enslavement of Native Americans occurred first. The enslavement of Native Americans occurred first.
Say that again, please.
The enslavement of Native Americans really began before the enslavement of Africans. Not only in the Caribbean by the Spanish, where it was extremely extensive. And in the Caribbean, I might mention that the numbers were huge that were involved, and they had several kinds of slaves. They had the normal slave, but they also had people who were called, they were called Indians from the Useless Islands. They were from islands where there was no gold. And so they had the right to go and remove people from those islands.
Useless islands?
Yeah, well, Jamaica, for example, would be a useless island because it had no gold. Inutiles, not useful. And they needed labor so badly on Haiti, where the gold was found, Haiti, and Cuba, that they were stealing people constantly and removing them by force from other islands, even after it was no longer technically.
The Native Americans came directly from Africa when they sailed and came down and landed in Mexico, in Mexam, and they built that civilization there with the Olmec civilization. The Olmec civilization come from the Incas, the Mayans, right? Then it come down to the Native Americans here. So which was all African, the Chippewa, the Choctaw, the Cherokee, the Shoshone, the Blackfoot, the Crow. These are all African tribes. These were all African directly from Africa. These tribes that they have calling themselves that they're not from Africa, they don't have no blood. Do a DNA test on yourself. You coming up with African blood in you. I don't care what you do. You could say whatever you want. You could say whatever you want. You ain't going nowhere without that melanin.
You know what, brother? If you were to walk into any mosque in America and you just laid your hands on the first person or the third person or the fifth person that you see, you realize that you're laying your hands on a Native American? There were only 8% of the slaves that came to America. So how is it that there are so many more people that they claim are black or African Americans? I think they got the numbers wrong, because a lot of Native Americans are the ones that they're counting as black folks too.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, my name is Earl Tooley. I am from the Navajo Nation. I'm of the Tutnisani clan, born for the Tohiaglenis. The African people, those with African roots, we call them Nahite, meaning not black, not dark, but night. People who secure our night and take care of our ancestors, whose stars sparkle in the night. We call them that as they are the caretakers of us in the nighttime. as it covers our being, as it covers our sheep camp, as it covers the various places that we do come from. So our brothers and sisters from Africa, they have a vital role in our daily lives.
You know, I'm wondering, how do the Native American people feel about Black Americans?
Native American people view the African Americans as part of the Five Finger Clan. We are all part of the same clan. We have various groups of people that have earth colors, and those earth colors represent the people of the land. And so we embrace them. We can. That biological or that diversity makes us whole.
People don't realize who brought the slaves to America. They were Jewish ships.
Wait a minute, that's a whole nother...
Other races are waking up and know who the lost tribes of Judah are.
Be just as ignorant as I was, and it'll help wake them up to see the truth. So that's what I'm hoping. So, second of all, I do want to clarify too that I know that the Black people that are here in the United States now are not African. I know that. The term African American is what the white man has pinned on them. Basically, I feel to try to keep hiding their true identity. They want them to think they're African, so they won't find out who they really are. So I know, and I wanted to clarify that I know the Black people here are the true Hebrew Israelites. I know that. So let me just get that out there and clarify that.
Clearly, I read it, I looked up and I said, wow, really? Wow, this is awesome. I was like, I know the only people that fit what's in this book of who it says that the true house of Israel is, the lost tribes of Israel. They're lost, you know, they say they're scattered. We don't know who they are. I know who they are. It's clear. It's you guys.
What do you mean by you guys?
The folks that were sent through the transatlantic slave trade. The folks that are still in the lands of their captivity. Israel is in the lands of their captivity. There is no creation of the so-called Jewish state of Israel in 1948. That does not fit prophecy. Those people over there that call themselves Jews, they call their own selves Ashkenazi. If you go look at Genesis chapter 10, 1 through 5, it tells you Ashkenaz.
Isn't it strange that just yesterday that the Jews in America found out that they are black Jews? Isn't it strange also that you don't consider us Jews, because when we go to Israel, you're still demanding that we must, quote unquote, reconvert. Who said we converted in the first place? Who said, what right have European Jews, who don't belong there either, have a right to tell us and to carry us to a shameful...
I'm sorry, European Jews who what?
No,
who don't have a...
any more than we do. Because the Russian Jews come there, many of them not circumcised, many of them never have a bar mitzvah, and we had to, nobody asked them to reconvert. Next thing, Rabbi, how come my uncle, Tamirat Emanuel, came here in 1935 to raise money when Italy invaded Ethiopia? We were 5 million. When we left, we were 50,000. The Jewish community in America refused, denied that we exist.
This clip is deep. Guy claiming to be a Ashkenazi Jew exposed it all. Like and subscribe for more content like this.
And rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries. And, you know, it's
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. Think of the same exact time the Renaissance is happening. Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
There's only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they are Africans, and if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians from Khazars, to be precise, from Russia. I learned it from my grandfather that he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity
and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time, all that he said.
No, we don't have.
So many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes, and I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews?
In this clip, they found out Egyptians made the Israelites build for them. Could they have been the ones who built the pyramids?
With Africa all the way down, you see giraffes, elephants, baby elephants, and I'm looking for the slaves that some people think are the Jewish slaves. Our aim was to find the key to understand how the chief artist of this tomb portrayed Semitic people. This artist gave Egyptians thick, dark hair, as well as Africans in traditional clothes. It was then that we got our breakthrough. We found a depiction of some Semitic people paying tribute. These visitors from Syria gave us the clue that we were looking for. Now we knew that this artist drew Semitic people with cropped light hair. As we looked again, we saw Egyptians, and above, a man kneeling down. Then, mirroring the Bible, we found a man making bricks. Carrying water was another man, and there was another with similar features. Finally, we saw a tall Egyptian overseeing the work, and the text says, "The rod is in my hand, be not idle." In the Bible, the children of Israel are beaten for not fulfilling their quotas, and they are told, "You are idle."
The bricks they made are still made and used in the same way. Mud is mixed with water, and then both are mixed with chopped straw. And the point of the straw is not only that it binds the brick, but that it prevents the mud from sticking to the builder's hand, and the mold from sticking to the ground. So you can see that when the Egyptians refused to supply straw any longer, and yet the Israelites had to supply the same number of bricks, that their work would have taken them more than twice as long. And this was an irritating hardship. And when that type of petty persecution turned to real oppression, then in the end the Israelites rebelled and fled. There you can see the straw very plainly.
Part of the brick walls of the temple, very much compressed dirt. They found the cartouche stamped onto them. So basically his seal, he ordered it, he paid for it, etc. Thus dating it to this time period.
There are some days in your life that you never forget. For us, this was one of those days as we entered the tombs and temples of ancient Egypt, witnessed the land of Goshen, and found treasures of great truth. Yours sincerely, Paul and Matthew.